Hi, I'm Gab Carlton.
I'm Rob Sams. How you going?
And welcome back to our next video in our series of videos. And today we're going to talk about, well, a couple of things. Firstly, I want to talk about our thinking groups because we've freshly come from one of the thinking groups that we attended this morning, which was wonderful. Thinking groups being, like-minded people coming together, thinking, critically thinking. There's a sort of a topic that we focus on. Inevitably, we always go off on a tangent, which is wonderful.
Which is beauty.
There's no other set agenda. There's no other thing. It's about meeting people. It's about like-minded people coming together and having conversations, which is really wonderful. Quite often we do it over brekkie, which is even better because I like food and conversation.
Works well for me. Had a bit of coffee and life's good.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about that because today we came up with one particular topic, which is quite an interesting one for us, which was about measurement. And I thought I'd like to share that with you about measuring, because in risk and safety, we do a lot of it, don't we, Rob?
Yeah, absolutely. Our discussion this morning started with a cracker. Our great mate, James Ellis, came up with a wonderful metaphor when we were talking about measuring.
Yes.
And here in Australia recently, a soccer team from Sydney won an Asia Pacific Cup, and it was quite unexpected, and I think they've been in the competition 2 years. Three years. And the amazing thing was that, it was certainly what James was talking about, was that there were two games in the series, and it was the team basically at the end of the two games that had the most goals, and that's a normal thing for sport, and most goals wins. But what James was talking about was the commentary on the game was that the other team, not the Sydney team, was the better team throughout. They'd played the better soccer, they were hard done by a number of times, yet the end result didn't reflect that. And it's interesting, Gab, isn't it? You know, what it got us thinking about how we measure things. And really, you know, we were talking this morning about what measuring does.
Yeah, what does it do?
Yeah. Well, you know, I think about that example, and I wonder whether that then takes us away from thinking about the actual game and concerned about the game, and we end up on the result, or focus on the result. Yeah,
we on the end result as opposed to, you know, what was going on from beginning to end.
Yeah, exactly.
An interesting another example with regards to that is, and I know because Rob and I have had this conversation before, where people want to have safety conversations, for want of a better term, out in the work environment, and which sets up and starts with really good intentions.
I'm sure they do.
Absolutely. Which is wonderful, because this is what it is about, getting out and having conversations, getting to understand and know what people are about in the work environment. But unfortunately, in the traditional space, we quite often head back to that measurement again, and people have placed measuring on, well, you must do so many conversations in a certain period of time.
So it becomes more about the measure of the safety conversation than the safety conversation.
Yeah.
And or interaction, or whatever name you've got for it. And one of the things we're very conscious of is not to say that is good or bad. That's, you know, it's really not our position, or it's not for us to say what's good or bad.
No.
The question we have for people, and the question that certainly I ask of myself all the time, is what does that measure then do?
Yes.
So if the key concern with safety conversations is the number that are done, or are we on plan, or who's done how many, and I've even been in organisations where the competition around is not have you done what you should do, but who's done the most.
Yes, which happens.
So Gab, what effect might that have? And it could have many, but what's one or two of the things that could do?
The shame of that is that what it gives this, and unconsciously we have this tendency to go back to that controlling, and takes away from the actual human perspective of the reason why we have conversations, to get to know people. So if we're only focusing on the measure, on the number, we're not actually having a focus of the person in front of us and having a good, proper conversation.
Yeah, and so I guess the question we have for you to prompt your thinking is, how does measurement in an organisation, two questions, how does measurement control people's behaviour, or at least attempt to,
Yes.
and it often does.
Yes.
Why measure otherwise? Why would you need to measure safety conversations if you're not trying to control people? Now, what I mean by control is getting them to do X number.
Yeah, yeah.
The second is, and this is something that I continually am challenged by, and in a positive way, is what does measurement do to me? And there's so many things that are measured in life. Speeding, the speed of your car, numerous things in everyday life. The challenge is not to think of those as negative or positive, or that's not our intention today. Our intention is to get people to think about what does measuring do to people.
What does it do? What is the effect, perhaps like even a byproduct or even a trade-off that we need to think about? So not about not doing it or it's bad. There are reasons we do it.
Yeah.
And
to tie this back to the start of our video, our thinking groups, what we really, the aim of these videos is to encourage and to give you some prompts to do more thinking.
Yeah,
that's that. If we can start that and get the ball rolling, we'd be stoked. So.
Fantastic. Great.
Thanks very much for today.
Thank you, and thanks for watching, listening. Hopefully if you've got any comments, and even to the question that Rob posed, place some comments down below and we'd love to hear from you. We'd really encourage the feedback. So thanks again and see you soon.
Ciao for now.
Bye.